Hello, welcome to Discussing Fitchburg Now. I'm your host, Sam Squalia. Thanks for watching. And you are watching this in the Workers Credit Union studio here at Fitchburg Access Television, FATV. We've got a great show for you today. It's all about dogs and the great services that they can perform. So up in the first segment, we have Nick Nadeau and Coda, and we're going to be talking about Clear Path for Veterans and the services they provide, including the Devens Dog Festival. And then in the second half of the show, we have Tom Welsh from Pawsitive Canine Identity Solutions, and they are going to be talking about the work that they do with their canine for BedBug Sniffing. What an incredible service. All right, very cool. So make sure you stick around. And up now, Nick Nadeau from Clear Path for Veterans. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Sam, for having me.
Yeah, and Clear Path for Veterans, now that's a service organization located right in Devens, right?
Yep.
Not too far.
Yeah, we're located right at Fort Devens in Air, Massachusetts, with the old hospital on base.
In the hospital on base?
Yep. Yep.
Oh.
So it was an old hospital, and we converted it to our wellness facility for all veterans to enjoy.
Very nice. So Clear Path for Veterans is a 501c3 organization.
Yes, we are a nonprofit.
Yeah, and they provide a number of variety of programs for veterans, but you are the service coordinator for the service dogs and everything to do with the dogs. Is that correct?
Yep, absolutely. So I run the service dog program for Clear Path. We train service dogs for veterans at no cost to the veterans. We work with veterans with diagnosis of PTSD, traumatic brain injury, or military sexual trauma. Yep.
And how did you get involved in doing the dog training and
yeah,
working
absolutely.
with Clear Path?
So I was a Marine Corps veteran, or I am a Marine Corps veteran. I was deployed overseas in 2006 to Fallujah, Iraq. While I was in Iraq, I was wounded. I took shrapnel to my head and face in Iraq by a roadside bomb.
Ooh.
I came home and I struggled just like every other veteran does. I, drank. I didn't want to be around people. Very kind of shut down and wanted to be home a lot. It was when I got my own dog and started working with my own dog, which I saw the benefits that kind of helped me.
Were you suggested to get a dog for therapy purposes?
I wasn't suggested to get a dog. I just wanted to get a dog, and I just when I noticed when I got my own dog that I was starting to go out more. I was starting to do a little bit more walking around the neighborhood, training and stuff like that, and I see the benefits that it was helping me, and I thought, how can I do this for more people, more veterans? So I went to school to learn how to train dogs, and came back home, and I started opening up markets in New Hampshire, Maine, and Massachusetts, and I started working with lots and lots of different people. Somebody from Clear Path saw one of my dogs and said, hey, we're impressed with what you've done, and we have a position open. What would you think about starting or working in the canine department and helping out our service dog program? And I said, absolutely. My main passions were working with dogs and working with veterans. So putting those two passions of mine in one location was a great fit for me.
Good, fulfilling
career. Absolutely. So how we work with the veterans is, when veterans leave the military or come home, we kind of lose our purpose. We kind of don't know what to do with ourselves, and we kind of shut down, and we start thinking a lot about all the bad things, all the negative things. Oh, I should have, or I could have done this, I could have done that, or just reliving day-to-days of being overseas. And it's a lot, and it's hard because a lot of people don't really understand what we've gone through.
They don't understand you're talking about post-traumatic
stress disorder. Absolutely. So we relive these things all the time, and somebody that hasn't been in the military may not quite understand what we're going through. And something as simple as a bang that goes off in the distance, to somebody else it may not be a big deal, but for us it's bringing back memories, and it brings it back fast.
It triggers memories.
Absolutely. So the one thing that I wanted to do with ClearPath is, one, get the veterans out of the house. Get them to ClearPath, give them a purpose. Once we have that purpose, we could start living again and moving forward and starting to heal. But also, while they're at ClearPath, they're working with other veterans. It becomes its own self-peer groups, because veterans, we have a hard time talking to people. But when we're talking to other veterans, they've gone through similar things, so it's easy going back and forth. I realize I'm not all by myself anymore. I realize that I'm not the only one going through these things.
Other people feel the same way and have the same experiences.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's a great community for veterans to come and be with other veterans. So while they're working with the veterans, they're working with the dogs also. Well, who doesn't like working with dogs?
Oh, dogs are the best. Look at them.
And this is Coda, So while they're working with the dogs, they have their purpose. They're working with other veterans. The dogs don't judge, right? And the veterans are learning a skill of how to work with the dogs. And then we start doing public access with the dogs. And so now, something that was hard for me to go out in public and do certain things, now with the guidance of the dogs and the guidance of other veterans, now we're able to do a little bit more that we didn't realize that we were able to do before. And then eventually, when it all goes well, we start placing the dogs with those veterans.
So how many dogs do you train at one time at ClearPath for Veterans?
Yeah, so right now we have 10 dogs in the program. Out of 10 dogs, statistically speaking, only 40% actually pass.
Oh, only 40% of the dogs can become service dogs.
Yep. So the ones that don't pass, we actually utilize as emotional support dogs for veterans instead. It takes about 1.5 years, 2 years to train one dog, and it costs us anywhere between $25,000 to $35,000 to train one dog.
Wow.
So we work a lot off of grants and donations. So all the help that we can get is really beneficial. And we look at, service dog, okay, $25,000 to $35,000 to train one dog, and they don't pass. But we look at it, that one dog helps in more than one area than just that veteran.
Because those veterans have been learning skills, training the dogs themselves.
Absolutely. So now, yes, the dog helps the veteran. So let's say, for example, if I get anxious, I start tapping my foot, Coda comes over and starts nudging my leg or climbs into my lap. Hey, check in with me, right? So instead of my PTSD levels climbing, it cuts it off short, focus back in on the dog, focus back in on Coda, and I'm not going all the way up to the extreme levels and trying to work my way down. Nightmares, he can wake me up from nightmares by jumping on me or laying down on me or turning on lights, stuff like that.
The dog can turn on lights?
Absolutely, yeah. You can carry stuff for me, so we have veterans with injuries that have a hard time bending over, so he can
like if you
pick
drop
things
something?
up. So he can pick things up, carry things for me. He can go out and grab something like a phone. If I tell him to go get the phone, he can go get the phone and bring it back.
Wow, he's so smart.
So there's different things that service dogs can do. So one of the cool things that we did when I got to ClearPath was we wanted to start naming all the service dogs after fallen veterans to keep their memory alive, right? So all of our service dogs have a veteran that they're named after and a story behind them. Coda doesn't have a veteran's name just because I had him way before I started with ClearPath, but it's just kind of a nice way to kind of give back at the same time. And then the other big thing is yes, we have 10 dogs. We have a long waiting list, but the more that we can get fosters, the more fosters we get, the more dogs we can take in.
Oh, so you're looking for service dog fosters.
Right, absolutely, because it's hard for me to take all the dogs home as much as I'd like to. It's a lot of work.
And there's not a facility that you can't just crate all the dogs and leave at night.
No, unfortunately, no. So we look for fosters that kind of could take the dogs at night, drop them off at ClearPath during the day so we can do training, and then take them on the weekends. And then we're looking also for those handlers, those foster handlers, to be able to work with us and train with us to learn the skills as well. So that way they can take them out and to do different events and and provide more distraction work and training while they're not at ClearPath.
So let me just stop you for a second. Could we have a graphic that shows the service dog with some information? Could we throw that up on the big screen? Not that one. There's like a black background with the service dog. If you could throw that up on the screen. Then, there's the website that people can find out more information. And so for the foster dog, what the foster family, right? What's the responsibility for the foster family, and what's the time commitment?
Yeah, so the responsibility is we're looking for loving homes. We're looking for foster families that can take the dogs at night again and on weekends, but also learn the training, because the training is so important. And if they're not keeping up with training, then we get them back and we have to kind of start a little bit from scratch again and kind of get them going back in the right direction.
Like after they come to my house, now they're sitting on your couch.
Yeah,
like,
and then we got to kind of teach them that it's not okay to be on the couch unless the veteran says it's okay, right? So learning the skills that we're going to teach and then applying them at home. We provide everything for the dog, all the vet visits, food, ClearPath covers all of that. And again, that's off of our grants and donations that we're able to provide all that for the foster dog as well.
So
for the dog.
And what's the time commitment that you
so
would
the time
foster
commitment's
a dog?
anywhere between a year to a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
I try to get the dogs out by a year, matched with the veteran, so we could start doing very specific tasks with them. And so it could take a year, it could take a little bit longer, but again, it takes about a year and a half to 2 years to completely train one dog.
Oh, here's the service dog. Can we put this up on the main screen,
Yeah.
Mr. Director? They're working on it.
No, that's okay.
But yes, so we have your contact information right there. So it's Nadeau, NNADEAU at clearpathne.org. If you're interested in potentially fostering one
Absolutely.
of these service dogs, it's a 1 to 1.5 year commitment, and you have to be able to take them in at nights and on the weekends.
Yep.
And you have to keep up with you have to know a little bit of the training.
Yeah, and we'll work with your entire family, and make sure everybody's able to do the training and keep it going as well.
Now, is this the kind of situation, a family situation, where if you have a dog, is that okay, or?
Yeah, so we'll make sure that the dogs that you have and the dog that we're providing from ClearPath, they get along. And some people are like, well, what about my dog? Well, if you use the same training that we're teaching you, you can utilize it on your own dogs as well, and get benefits from that way as well.
Ooh, so you also get a side benefit.
Absolutely.
Of learning how
Absolutely.
to train your own dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was we got the service dog program, but we also have a ton of other wraparound services at ClearPath. And I think it's important that the service dogs aren't a catch-all, right? Yes, the service dogs can help us as veterans, but there may be other things that we need as well to kind of get us as good as we can possibly get. At ClearPath, we offer housing programs, employment programs where we work with different agencies that are looking specifically for veterans, and we are able to help those veterans find jobs. We have our canteen every Thursday, so they can come in
like
for food.
Like a food pantry?
Yeah, so we have a food pantry as well, but a canteen is every Thursday from 11:30 to about 2 o'clock. We do free lunch for veterans and their families. And we average about 150 people. We have veterans from World War II to current wars that come with their family and friends, and we just have a great time, and everybody can talk to each other. And
every Thursday, it's like a social lunch.
Absolutely.
Opportunity
Yep.
to have lunch with fellow veterans.
Yep. And then we also have our food pantry, our empowerment center is what we call it, that veterans, if they need certain supplies, they can kind of get them from us as well. Tuesday mornings, we have free breakfast for veterans.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday. So we have veterans that come in every Tuesday.
And what time is that?
That is at 8 o'clock.
8 a.m. to like 11?
Yeah, to 8, whatever you guys want to leave, right? We encourage people to stay as long as they want to be there. We have a traumatic brain injury clinic, so a little bit about that is kind of retraining a brain. So I suffer from roadside bomb. I took shrapnel to my head. I have a traumatic brain injury. So for me, it's kind of hard to do certain things sometimes because my brain doesn't want to process the right way that it used to. So with this traumatic brain injury clinic, Dr. Lars, who is a Army veteran himself, can take you in, and so kind of teaching your brain how to redo certain things or find other pathways to be able to do those same things easier.
What's an example of an affliction from a traumatic brain injury?
You know, sometimes I'll stand up, I got to go do something, and then I'll be like, oh, what did I get up for? And I can't remember. You know, so everything that I do is very regimented. We take lots of notes, and I have, you know, calendars everywhere to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Because there's a short-term memory loss?
There could be a short-term, or I forget what I'm doing sometimes. Like, oh, you know, I'm not quite sure why I got up. I knew I was supposed to be doing something, but what was it? And sometimes I can sit down and kind of think about it a little bit, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I was supposed to do. And other times it's just completely gone. So if I get distracted real quick, or something, you know, happens over here and I turn, and then I might forget what I'm talking about or what I'm doing.
But rather than just, you know, live with this and deal with it in your own ways, you learn strategies to better operate around your injury.
Absolutely, yeah. So other programs that we have is we have a wellness coach that can help if you're looking to set goals for yourself, either weight loss or you have injuries and you're trying to help those injuries, or with lifting or walking or certain programs. We have somebody that's able to help with that. We do fishing trips, golf trips for veterans, and everything's free for veterans and their families. That's what I want to really harp on, is veterans and their families, because we go through a lot as veterans, but our families also go through a lot as well coming home, because again, they don't understand exactly what we've been through, and we don't know exactly how to talk about it at the same time sometimes.
So there's like family support groups as well?
So we have family groups as well. Family
like
things.
veterans' wives
Wives and families, right.
Yeah.
So that we can get all together, and you know, the family's not by themselves either. The other families are going through the same thing.
That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. So then we have build a flag workshops where veterans can come and build wooden flags from scratch.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of those. They're really cool.
Yeah, so we have a lot of veterans that do that, and they're very happy. They turn out great, and it's just another way of getting veterans together and kind of creating those networks.
Sounds like there's a lot of great opportunities for outreach and collaboration with the veterans community at ClearPath.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let's see, the Devens Dog Festival, want to talk about that?
Yes, so October 29th, we're very excited about it. October 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have our annual dog festival. We're going to have live bands, we're going to have food trucks, vendors. We have the Lions Club is actually setting up an eye clinic booth. So if you want to come in and get free eye exams and stuff like that, they'll be able to help you right there on the spot.
Free eye exam?
Yeah, so it's kind of like
the Lions do a lot with glasses donations. They always did.
Yeah. So they have a whole truck that's coming. And they can do complete eye exams.
Like a mobile examination van.
Exactly. So they can help you from beginning to end. It's free. Anybody can use it. And we'll have our Massachusetts State Police Canine demonstration, which is very popular. We have one of their canine handlers coming with their dogs. They're going to talk about how they do the scent work and do some demonstrations. So that's going to be great. We have a little small agility course that people can come and utilize as well.
Oh, cool.
And the big thing is this is all sponsored by Tito's in Yingling, and they'll have a tent up, and you can enjoy that as well.
So there's an alcohol area.
Yeah, there's a little spot where you can have
you get food trucks,
and Tito's,
and Yingling.
Absolutely.
So is there a cost for admission?
There is no cost for admission. We do ask that you bring a copy of your rabies certificate to make sure that your dogs are up to date on their vaccines, and we do require that all dogs are on a 6-foot leash. We try to stay away from the extended leashes, but if you have a 6-foot leash, that would be great. One of the other big things that we're going to be doing that's new, because it's right around Halloween time, is we're going to have a costume contest. So we invite you and your family to come, dress up with your dog. And then whoever, we have contests, and you could potentially win some prizes during our different contests that we're providing as well.
Good deal. So the Devens Dog and Music Festival, Saturday, October 29th at what? Where is it?
From
at
10 to 3.
Museum Park?
Museum Park. So it's right at the bottom of, so we got Clear Path. It's right at the bottom of the hill. There's a big field right next to a little playground, and that's where we're going to be set up.
Right near the Clear Path for Veterans location, right in Devens, Massachusetts, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. No admission.
No admission.
But you should bring, if you're bringing your dog, which obviously everybody should bring their dog, you should bring a copy of the current rabies vaccination.
Yep.
And make sure your dog's on a leash.
Absolutely. And dress up, because that's the fun part. You know, we did it last year during the same time, and we had a lot of people dress up and a lot of dogs dress up, and it was a great event, a great time.
The great thing about the dog festival is you realize how many different breeds of dogs everyone really has.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, when you look on the internet, you think everybody's got a golden retriever or a black lab, and then you come to these events and there's every single dog that you've ever imagined that exists.
Yeah.
The little tiny, they got them little tiny dogs to huge Great Dane horse dogs.
Oh, absolutely. We had some pretty big dogs last year. So it's always exciting to have the dog festival, because it's great. Everybody comes out, and we have a great time. So.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll make sure to go to that. Now I have a couple questions before we close.
Yeah.
Now so you train the dogs to perform different tasks for different veterans.
Right.
But the different veterans, they have a wide variety of needs. How do you assess those needs with the dogs? Or how do you assess those needs first in order to start training the dogs to meet them?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, not every dog's going to be able to do the work. So what we try to do at ClearPath, or what I try to do, is figure out, what are your goals as a veteran? What are you trying to accomplish, right? Is it getting out more? Is it being able to do, go out to eat? Is it be able to spend more time with the family? Is it or I have mobility problems and I need a dog to, one, be with me, but also when I have these different PTSD attack, or I'm having nightmares, I need that dog to kind of wake me up. So we figure out, what is your goal? While you're here at ClearPath, we're working together. I get to know you. I get to know your personality, what your needs are. What do we do that the dog could potentially alert on? For me, again, it's tapping my leg. Some people play with their hands, or play with their fingernails, or scratch their face. All these things the dogs can see and kind of alert on and say, hey, there's...
But how do you even figure out those triggers? Like, how do you notice that you're tapping your leg and then you start to get anxious?
When they're working with us, we kind of notice different things, but part of the packet is we get letters from family members. So, you may notice that I tap my foot. So when you write your letter, I think a service dog would be great for him. I notice he taps his foot, or when he's sleeping, they do X, Y, Z, right? And so we can kind of take these little puzzle pieces and kind of put them together.
Right.
And then when it's getting closer to time to match a dog with you, which dog's going to be able to handle the certain work that you're looking for? If you're looking to get out more, I'm not going to pair you up with a dog that's going to be a couch potato and just kind of want to be with you. And
if you need a dog
that's going to be running around with you all day, right? But I'm also not going to give you a dog that's really excited to work and be out with you and this and that if you're going to be home all the time. So it's really kind of learning your personality and figuring out which dog's personality is going to be the best for you. And then we start working on those very specific tasks and how that dog is going to be working with you and your family.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, absolutely.
And so my next question was, what kinds of dogs? Like, I know Needs, often works with black labs. Do you work with specific types of dogs or all breeds?
Yeah, so we look at different breeds, different personalities. We look for the personality of the dog versus the breed, but we're also kind of looking at, what is the dog going to be doing? So we have some labs. We have some golden retrievers. We also have Bernese Mountain Dogs that we're working with right now.
Oh, really? The big furry ones?
They're going to be big furry ones, right? But if you need help with mobility and keeping stable, a small dog's not going to help you, right? So again, it depends on what you're looking for, what you're trying to accomplish. We'll try to figure out which dog's going to be the right dog for that specific type of work. Lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. That's the prime example. So yeah, we really try to hone in on what your goals are. We're looking at potentially getting some hypoallergenic dogs as well.
Like a poodle?
Yeah, poodles, golden doodles, stuff like that. Because you may have allergies to dogs, or a family member may have allergies to dogs. But the dog could still help you if you and your family members can deal with a hypoallergenic dog. So yeah, it really depends. We try to really look at what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, and then we're trying to get the dogs to kind of match those needs as well.
There's a lot of facets to balance.
Oh, absolutely.
And where do you get the dogs?
So we get our dogs from breeders. We try to guarantee health. So when we get them from breeders, we know exactly the line that we're working with and the dogs from past. And so if there's something that goes wrong, we can kind of go back to the breeder and say, hey, you know, X, Y, Z is going on. You know, can we get a different dog, or can we, you know, just for future notice? And they can take all that information and they can actually breed dogs specifically for these lines of work.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic, Nick. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
In the last seconds of the show, could we just put up the website there somewhere, right there? There it is. So you can learn more about ClearPath for Veterans at clearpathne.org.
Yep.
And you can learn more about the Devens Dog Festival. You can get Nick's contact information for the service dog, for the foster dog opportunity for volunteers. And you can, if you're a veteran, you can learn more about the programs that are available as well.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in the service dog program or any other program, we encourage you to go to our website. For the service dog particularly, you can sign up to get more information right on our site, and then I would be giving you a call and making sure we get all the information that we need to best help you.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for watching, and we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back on with Pawsitive Identity K9 Services.
After reconstruction from a fire that destroyed the sanctuary, Emmanuel Lutheran Church is pleased to invite you to the dedicatory concert for its newly constructed pipe organ. The instrument reflects the masterful artistry of renowned organ builder Patrick J. Murphy and Associates of Stowe, Pennsylvania. The casework is the product of the imagination of the great Frank L. Fremmel of Canyon, Texas. The guest performer for the program is Dr. Michael E. Krentz of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Krentz is a deacon in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. Previously, he taught at the Lutheran Theological Seminary at Philadelphia, served as dean of the Lehigh Valley chapter of the American Guild of Organists, and is the current secretary-treasurer of the Association of Lutheran Church Musicians. A reception with refreshments will follow the concert. The event is free to all, but a free will offering is greatly appreciated. For more information, call the church at 978-345-1200. We look forward to welcoming you to Emmanuel as we celebrate our wonderful new pipe organ.
Come, see, and listen. November 13th at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 1200 John Fitch Highway.
Hey Fitchburg, are you excited for Halloween? I know I am. Come on down to Main Street and trick-or-treat on Main Street on the 29th from 12 to 2 p.m. You can see all the businesses downtown participating at In Town Fitchburg. You can check out our social media bios or our website to see everyone who's coming downtown. Hey Louisa!
Hey!
Do you want to trick-or-treat with me?
Of course I'll be here.
We can see you in town.
Hi, welcome back to Discussing Fitchburg Now with Sam Squalia, and we're talking all about dogs today. And up now, I have Tom and Nina Welsh from Pawsitive Identity Canine Services.
Correct.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having
much.
us.
Now, I saw you guys, this company, thanks to the Chamber of Commerce promoting you with a grant in order to purchase your second BedBug Sniffing canine.
That's true.
Charlie.
That's true. Charlie. Yeah, so far Charlie is working out pretty good. I mean, he's learning. It's a learning process. Usually after a year, you start learning their body language, learning, if they false indicate or if they're just about to false indicate. So, I mean, that's what we're looking for. And Charlie is progressing nicely as he goes along in his training and his inspections.
And your original dog was Kirby.
Kirby, yep. So Kirby, actually, I worked for a pest control company with Kirby. I worked for 11 years with Kirby. The pandemic hit, and then obviously layoffs started, which made sense. They're a pest control company, and
no one can get into the homes?
no one could get into the homes. Hotels, we weren't getting in there. We weren't getting in offices. Schools, libraries, any hospital waiting areas definitely were out. So yeah, we had to take a little bit of a break. And actually, Kirby went into a little bit of a depression as a working dog.
Oh, because he likes to
Yep.
work.
And I've never seen that in a dog. I've never seen a dog actually go into a little bit of a depression like all of us. We're working steadily throughout the years, and then all of a sudden, you're not working. So
Yeah, you go from working 40 hours a week to retired, boom.
to bang, we're all of a sudden not doing any work, and then we just came up with the idea, let's start our own business. The pest control company let me keep Kirby, and they said they would absolutely be willing to hire me once everything was over with. So we came up with Pawsitive Identity Canine Services, and we've been going pretty good for 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
2 years?
A little over 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And prior to being in the pest control, you were a police dog trainer or handler,
Correct.
right?
Yep. So for 21 years, I ran the canine unit of the Sheriff's Office, Worcester County Sheriff's Office. I started out, my first dog was a Black Lab Greyhound mix.
Black Lab Greyhound.
Black Lab Greyhound
That's
mix.
that sounds like a cute mix.
Fortunately, he didn't want to use his eyesight, he used his nose. I know Greyhounds like to sight on stuff, from what I've heard. But he ended up graduating top in his class in Boston Police. We went there for 11 weeks with him, and he ended up doing well. That was my very first dog, and it was hit the road running,
And what was his service? What
He
was
was
his
a
task?
narcotics detection dog.
A what?
Narcotics detection dog. So he looked for drugs. He looked for marijuana, cocaine, and heroin. That's what his function was. Buddy has a story. He actually was from Needs for CNI dogs out of Princeton, Sterling area. So Needs called me one day, and they said, we have a dog. He's not really going to work out for the woman in the wheelchair, so would you want this dog? And I said, yeah, let me take a look at it. And we ended up getting Buddy. I have so many names.
We get Buddy.
Get a lot of dog names. Ended up getting Buddy, and he ended up having like 30 commands. He ended up having 30 commands from Needs, from being trained from Needs. So I mean, he could
that's helpful.
shut off and on light switches. He could pick up trash. He would nudge you if the smoke detector went off. I mean, he would open the refrigerator if you had him do that. He would do certain things that a person in a wheelchair would have a dog do.
Wow.
So we ended up getting him, and yeah, he did excellent.
And was Buddy a narcotics detection dog also?
Buddy was a narcotics detection dog, and then I also co-handled a bloodhound. So I also was a member of the National Police Bloodhound Association. So bloodhounds are a unique dog to run. I mean, you can't be worried about slobber. You can't be worried about hair and slobber, and they have that distinct smell that they're in their car and they have that smell.
Oh, they have a dog smell?
They have that yeah, you can wash them all you want, but you keep them groomed and washed, but they still have that smell. My first dog that I co-handled was Jake. So that was Bloodhound Jake. So Bloodhound Jake and Buddy I kind of ran together for so many years. And then my final 6 years, I ran a German Shepherd named Dago.
Dago.
Yeah.
We have a Belgian Malinois at Fitchburg Police Department now. His name is Hengos.
Okay.
So
yeah.
it sounds like a German name.
Yep. He was.
Yeah.
I had commands in Czechoslovakian with him, which was funny. It was just different because a lot of the guys in my class had German. Actually, we had a guy from Leominster Police Department. He's no longer on the canine, but he spoke French to his dog, which I found kind of different.
And the reason you speak different languages is so they don't get confused, right?
Exactly. So a perpetrator, like a suspect, if you're apprehending somebody, or they can't be distracted by that person. Usually the person doesn't know the language that you're talking to the dog. So the dog, the perpetrator can't go oust. They can't say a word that might make the dog stop. So
because they don't know his language.
That's right. So that's why we do why we do that.
And what language does Charlie know? Do you teach Charlie in
Charlie's
English?
Charlie's just sit and wait and just find your bees. Find your bees is our command to find the bed bugs.
Find your bees.
Find your bees. And he gets excited and he just goes right around, and we do pretty good.
Yeah, and then he's rewarded with food. He's a food
If he
reward dog.
finds if he finds something,
If he finds them,
or
yeah,
if he doesn't find something, he also gets food.
No, so with BedBug work, so with what I do with him, he's a food reward dog, so that means he always has to be training. The only way he gets fed is if he's training.
Even for dinner?
Even for dinner. So what I usually do is throughout the whole day of doing inspections, I'll put a vial out. I have a vial of bed bugs that I have, and he smells the vial. And the vial has a screen on it that he can smell the bed bugs go through it. I can hide that, and what he ends up doing is he finds the bed bugs, he sits, he gets fed as the day goes on. If I don't have a job on a certain day, I'll do a little bit of training, and I'll feed him right out for the morning. And then for the afternoon, I'll do training again and feed him right out for the afternoon.
So you have to train Charlie
every single day.
Every single day.
Every
you have to maintain his training.
There is no break. Yeah,
nope,
there is no.
He's always working.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard, especially if you're sick, or if if you have like a wedding or you're busy on a weekend. I mean, it's hard to do that, but you do it. You get up in the morning, you do a quick training.
Find your bees.
Quick training, find your bees, and he finds his bees, and then we end up giving him reward. So that's his food.
And so, that's perfect. To my next question was how do you train a dog to figure out how to find bed bugs?
The training part, to me, for me is not as difficult as finding the dog that actually can do this job. So finding the dog was very difficult. Finding the dog, we usually like to use rescue dogs. We like to use the industry tends to go towards beagles. But he's a beagle, Jack Russell. That's the one we ended up finding. Charlie actually was found in Arkansas, right?
I believe it's Arkansas. Yes.
Yeah. So Charlie was found in Arkansas in a bush, and he was dying of parvo.
Very sick.
So he actually was taken out of the bush, treated, and we ended up having a woman from Colorado look at him, and looking at the dog and seeing if the dog can actually perform that function is the big part. Dogs that won't break down, that can go in an apartment complex with TVs blaring, people yelling, shiny floors, and not freak out. Elevators, and you bring him everywhere. Which, when I picked up Charlie from Kathy Palmer out of Colorado, she actually brought me in a Home Depot. And I'm like thinking to myself, if this dog finds these bed bugs in Home Depot, because she put out hides in Denver, Colorado, in the Home Depot. So I ended up going in. She goes, all right, so I put some hides down the aisle. And you know how busy Home Depot is. Home Depot was just crazy busy.
Usually.
Yeah.
Crazy busy. I mean, noises, everything. And the dog got 4 out of the 5.
Not bad,
that were down the aisle.
Charlie.
Yeah.
And he was only 7 months old at that time.
Yeah.
So you kind of got him pre-trained a little bit.
She trained him for about 4 months. He was very young. That was probably the youngest dog she trained. I think he was 6 months when she got him. 5 months.
I think so. I think 5 months, and he trained with her for 2 months.
Yeah. So during her training, he's a young dog, and she ended up doing a great job getting him started, which I needed. I needed a dog that could get started because we have 2 flunkies at home right now that wouldn't go out and perform the job, and that's the key.
Now they're pets.
So. So how you go about training them though is it's hide and seek. It's basically hide and seek, and the game becomes more difficult as you go along. So the beginning stages of it, you have a vial with bed bugs in it, which I do have a vial with bed bugs. You have them come up and you just have them sniff, and you have them teach them to sit and just keep feeding them, just basic. And then you take the vial as they start progressing. You start taking the vial, show them, and you show them where you hide it behind maybe a couch or something, and they know. They go and sniff it, and you give them the reward.
Good boy.
Yep, and then you start taking, you have the dog held by somebody, you put him at a weight, and then you start going out of his sight. Show him the vial, go out of his sight somewhere and hide it. And now it becomes a little more tricky for the dog. Now the dog's got to actually work the room. And we always usually work a room clockwise. Everything's always clockwise so you don't miss anything in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So if I was to come in this room, I would start at the door, work clockwise around, then do everything in the middle afterwards.
Like
And
a spiral.
Yep, that way you don't miss anything in the room, because bed bugs can be anywhere. That's the myth about bed bugs. They call them bed bugs, but that's not true. They can be in bureaus, they can be in couches like this.
Anywhere.
I found them in headphones, people's headphones. I found them in mail.
Headphones.
Yep.
Let's pause for a second. We've got some pictures of Charlie, and we got some other pictures. Can we throw a couple pictures up on the main screen here?
There he is.
Yeah, that's Charlie. Can we show Charlie? There. So here's Charlie.
So there's Charlie, yep. Like I said, Charlie is, there's Kirby. That's Kirby and Charlie on a job. Kirby is starting to slowly retire. He's starting to kind of
Wean off.
I know.
And here's at the
Beautiful.
Dog Festival.
That's the dog festival.
That's the Dog Fest. That was a great time, the Dog Festival.
He's such a good boy.
So cute.
Oh, and this is
Kirby.
Kirby?
That's Kirby, yep, searching the bureau. I'm not sure where that one was, but.
And there's and Charlie, so he's sniffing the...
Sniffing the heaters, the heater units, yeah.
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 That's it's such an interesting service, because you would, otherwise as you have to visually go around and look at things, and you've got to look at everything, and it must take hours to search one apartment for signs of bed bugs.
Well, for a human inspection is about 70% accurate, roughly. They have to flip everything. They have to go through all your bureaus, your drawers, your clothing. They have to flip your beds.
It's very invasive.
So it's very invasive, very disturbing to you. Yes. The dog can be in and out of, in one apartment, the dog can be in and out of there within 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Ugh,
the dog can cover.
And he's looking because he wants his food.
Yep, the dog wants to eat.
He wants to find something.
That's right.
Yep, so he'll just go right around the room and 10 minutes. And he's right now, Charlie's accuracy is about 95%.
95%?
About that, through training. That may not be right on the money.
Like you said, he'll find when he was 7 months, he found 4 out of 5 things.
Yeah. So, I mean, he still misses stuff, and that's to be expected. I mean, sometimes you have air currents in a room. I've had it where the dog has put his nose right on a windowsill where the bed bug was right there in front of him, and he didn't get it because it's being sucked out the window, the odor. So you have to watch for that. You have to watch for the dog's body language. I mean, as well as you would know with dogs, that their body language tells us everything we want to know.
And, if their tail's wagging, they're happy, or if the tail's in, maybe they found something.
Or just a certain way their head tilts, or their ear. Kirby's ear usually goes crooked when he finds something. When he finds something, I can tell when Kirby's like sometimes on mice in the apartment because his tail would do like a helicopter spin.
Oh.
Charlie's not to that progression yet, but Charlie is starting to notice mice. Like that's a kind of a side thing I do for tenants, like to tell you where the mice might be hiding in the apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, not just bed bugs, but you're maybe starting to teach him how to identify mice. And where they are.
Yep.
Well, that sounds really helpful too.
And I mean,
because every house has mice.
Yeah, and the key is to find where they're actually coming out of. Like
where's the mouse highway?
Yeah, and that's the key with the bed bugs too. What the dog can do for people, for landlords or office buildings, stuff like that, they can pinpoint it in a place that a human may not be able to pinpoint it. I mean, they can pinpoint it in, like I said, I found it in somebody's mail in New Haven, Connecticut. The mail was sealed.
Mail?
Yeah, the mail was sealed. And Kirby ended up alerting on the mail, and so I told the tenant, I said, hey, can you open this? Open it up, and in some religious pamphlets were bed bugs inside. Yep. So they were.
And they were alive?
They were alive. Yep.
Oh my.
Yep.
What?
So watch your mail.
So obviously somebody's infested on the other end. Somebody has infestation on the other end.
I heard bugs are attracted to glues. Is that a thing? Like the glue in like an envelope? Maybe?
With the bed bugs, I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure.
That's not a bed bug
thing.
Are, that's a my pantry bugs thing.
Bed bugs are actually geared for us in our skin. Bed bugs actually, they have a mouth that kind of unfolds.
A mouth?
A mouth that unfolds, and they have like saws. They have like saws in their teeth, and they can saw through our blood vessels and our skin.
Ew.
And then they put like an anesthetic on our skin, and then they put an anticoagulant, and they suck our blood.
Ew.
And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for the after. You're looking for the fecal matter afterwards that they're putting on your bed. Bed bugs have 5 stages. They have the nymph stages, 5 nymph stages, and they shed their skin like a snake. So that's something else somebody could look out for.
So skin remnants,
Yep.
bed bug feces, and
Yep.
blood spots.
And blood spots, yep. They gorge themselves with our blood. They shrink down a little bit. They shed the skin. They get the new skin. And that's what you're kind of looking on for the seams of your couch or the seam of your bed or the corners of your bed.
Because that's where they hide?
Yeah, they like seams and crevices and corners. They like the little, you might have a seam around the back of your bureau that has the laminate wood on it, and they like that seam in the wood.
It's disgusting.
And most people don't realize that.
Yes.
Most people go around self-treating the bed, and they don't realize that, yes, you'll kill some of the bed bugs. But then they send off a pheromone odor. The pheromone odor is actually what the dog is looking for. The pheromone odor that the bed bugs give off when they're communicating with one another, that's what the dog is smelling.
Really? What about the feces and the molting?
The blood, I think there is a little bit of part to that, because when I'm in hospitals, the dogs will show interest on those red containers with the needles. Or if somebody is diabetic in the apartment, the dog will show interest, but they won't alert on the blood. They won't alert unless they're smelling that pheromone odor coming from the bed bug.
What does he do when he alerts? Does he like lie down?
Up, he'll sit. Charlie's a little more passively sit. He's very casual about it. He just like sits, like no big deal.
Like, you
Yeah,
tired,
Kirby
or
used to,
did you find
yeah.
something?
Kirby would sit like a crazed maniac. Like he would just sit like crazy. Like,
Abruptly.
give me food.
Yeah.
Somebody give me food.
I got
right now.
I got it.
I
Yeah.
got one.
But Charlie's a little more, you have to watch Charlie's body language more than I had to watch Kirby's, because he's very subtle. So you see it coming, you're like, okay, here it comes, he's gonna sit, and then he'll sit, and then you give him the food, yeah.
And so the locations where you would need to use, a bed bug sniffing dog, or where it would be appropriate. I mean, any location really.
Yeah, any location.
Not just apartment.
Nope, I've
not
done-
just houses.
I've
but
done nighttime office, I'm sorry.
No, I hit you.
I did, I've done attorneys' offices at night in Boston. I've done hospitals, waiting areas. I've done assisted living homes,
Theaters,
theaters. I've done
Oh
movie
yeah, like
theaters.
Buses.
senior housing.
Senior housing. Yep.
busing, buses.
Buses, I've done buses. I've done
Buses.
libraries. Yep, I've done schools.
Now, what would cause someone to think, "Ooh, geez, we might have bed bugs. Let me give you a call." Like what?
Usually, it's a combination of things. You start seeing bites on your body. Not everybody reacts to the bite. There's 30% that don't react to the bite.
Wow.
But most people do. And the bites are usually, we call them breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There always comes in groups of 3s. The bed bugs bite, bite, bite. They'll go 3 times in a row.
Three little bites
Yeah.
next to each other.
And that's not 100%.
And there'd be like a little red dot
Yep,
that maybe is itchy.
There'll be protruding red dots, and they'll be itchy, yeah. And that's not 100%. I mean, that's a good sign you have them when they're 3 in a row like that. Usually spiders, they'll bite you just wherever. 1, 1, 1 all over. Mosquitoes will bite you 1, 1, 1. Like they're not 3 in a row. So the 3 is the key to look for bed bugs.
Is it like a flea bite?
You really can't feel it because when they're biting you, like I said, they put an anesthetic and they put an anticoagulant, so it kind of numbs your skin as they're biting you. It's kind of like a mosquito. If a mosquito's biting, then all of a sudden you're like, oh.
You're like, hey!
Yeah. Same thing. They inject you first before they bite you. Usually you're sleeping when they bite you.
Bed bugs.
Yes, bed bugs don't like you moving around. They don't like you awake. And a lot of concern out there with people is, well, how do we know your dog can't get bed bugs? Bed bugs aren't geared for the fur on the dogs. A dog that has real human hair that gets haircuts, maybe.
Ooh, like a poodle.
Like a poodle
Or
or
a
something that
golden
gets actual
doodle.
haircut, maybe, but they're geared for our skin. They're geared for humans. And they can't jump like a flea, and they don't like movement. So if the dog and I are moving around an apartment and we're bumping up against stuff or we're hitting stuff, bed bugs will go away from that. They'll go away from that vibration. They don't like us. They like us sitting down, eating popcorn, watching a movie, relaxing, and then they'll climb on us when we're nice and relaxed or sleeping. So that's a myth too, like with the dogs and can they get on that? Can they hop like a flea? No, they can't hop like a flea. A female bed bug can lay up to about 500 eggs for her lifetime.
Ugh. Now, what's the lifetime of a bed bug?
Usually about a year usually about that, from what I'm seeing out there. But I mean, a female bed bug will lay 15 to 20 eggs a day, can lay that.
Yeah.
And you're talking if she's laying, if half of those or 50% of those are females, in 3 or 6 months you'll be infested with bedbug. Like you'll have an infestation. So early detection is huge, actually. And the dog can help you do that.
And you can spread, how do you spread the bed bugs? How do bed bugs get from your bed to someone else's bed?
Oh, what they'll do is if you have enough of them, they'll be on your clothing. I've seen them in people's shoes. I've seen them in people
Like on the outside of the shoe or inside?
in the seam of the shoe, like they'd be in the seam or where the laces are, they'd be tucked in there. If someone's infested enough, they'll have them on their person, and then they'll go visit a friend, and they'll sit on their couch, and they'll watch a movie or they'll whatever, they'll talk.
Bed bugs like,
Yep, and the bed bug, and if it's a
Yeah.
female females bed bugs tend to get away from males when they're pregnant. They want to be away from the males. The males actually try to eat the eggs, so they try to lay them away from where the males are, and they put like a scent on the eggs to tell the males to warn them not to do that. So more than likely you might have a female on you trying to get away from the males. They'll hop off they'll walk off in another apartment, and that's how somebody else will get it. They'll lay their eggs. Yeah, not hop. We don't want to use that word. They'll crawl off, and then that's how someone will become infested.
Or if you're, somebody that has bed bugs, they're sitting in a movie theater for a couple hours, and then they leave, and then you walk in, sit in the same seat for the next movie, and they're going to attach onto you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you take Charlie to movie theaters a lot?
I have, not since the pandemic, but yes. Kirby I would take a lot to those. Haven't really hit movie theaters with Charlie yet. But I'm
Sounds
sure.
like a useful preventative thing
I'm
for
sure it's
movie
coming back.
theaters.
Another huge thing is drop-off places in libraries, like the book, where the book drop is, because I found them in books and magazines and stuff
Because they
like
were
that.
in mail, they would be in books.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're everywhere. I forgot what I was going to say. That's okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Just
Have you ever gotten bed bugs? Have you ever brought bed bugs home?
not yet. Knock on wood. No. Knock on wood. Absolutely.
And that was my biggest fear. When he retired from the sheriff's department, he spent a year as a police officer for the year, and then the pest control company found him and asked him to be a bed bug handler, dog handler, and yeah, that was quite the discussion we had because
no way.
Right, and we knew nothing. What do you mean you're going to bring them in the house in vials? And that's scary. It's scary. I've known people on the personal side before we got into this that were infested with bed bugs, and the stuff they have to go through. I mean, they have to burn things. They have to get rid of furniture. They have to. It's costly to get rid of. So, if you think for a moment that you might have even an inkling, maybe one bed bug in your house or your apartment, that would be the time to call us.
You want to stop that in its tracks before it spreads.
Because a human's probably not going to find that, but the dog more than likely would. So it's definitely useful and less costly.
Yeah, especially
overall.
And less costly also for a dog to do it. Whereas if you've got a human trying to detect things, they only have a 70% accuracy, and it's going to be very invasive, and it's going to take them a long time.
That's
Whereas a dog, like you said, could be 10 minutes.
Yep, you get in and out pretty quick.
Yeah.
And more so accurate than even the only reason the dog's probably 95% is because of myself as a human being handling him.
Right.
And sometimes I think I get in the way because you have to, the dog's trying to tell you something, communicate to you, and if you're not you have to be a really good handling. You have to really watch the dog. And I've had the dog alert and technicians, they'd search the area and you'd search and we're not finding anything. But they did have it. The tenant did have it. So it could just be one bed bug in a crack somewhere in a wooden bed in a crack somewhere. And we actually did find one similar to that in Rhode Island. Kirby alert on a bed, technician came, looked. I can't find anything, Tom. There's nothing here. Brought Kirby in again. Kirby alerted again, like dummy. It's right here. We ended up taking that whole bed frame apart. We ended up finding it. It was one bug. And
it was alive?
And it was alive, yeah. And we wouldn't. The technician said we would have never found that. Like we would have just.
Oh yeah.
If it
was just you visually.
Yeah. Yeah. Without this dog insisting that something is here.
Those people
yeah.
would have been hurting in a couple of months.
I mean, I've scratched my head with Kirby and Charlie now. You scratch your head and you go,
What? Where?
yeah, are you sure? Right? And they're like, bang, they're positive, bang, it's right here.
Like, oh yeah, give me my treat.
And like I said,
Exactly.
95%, I mean, in the 90s, they're right. I mean, they're accurate.
So let's pause for a second, and we'll, in these last minutes, can we put this information, yes, can we put that right there? So you can see Pawsitive ID Canine Services here. Oh, can we put that back with there we go. So it's Tom and Nina Welsh, 978-257-2676. And you can email Pawsitive with a pause like a dog paw.
That's right.
PawsitiveIdentityK9@gmail.com. And if you have any questions about their services, or you might have a potential inkling like you could have a bed bug, make sure to give them a call quickly, because time is of the essence before they start laying there 20 to 40 eggs
Absolutely.
a day.
I mean,
yeah.
Even if you're allergic to dogs and maybe you're skeptic about hiring the dog, early detection is key. Call your local pest control company. Get somebody in there. Do not try to do it yourself. Just have somebody go in there.
You mean if you find a bed bug?
Yep. Try to have somebody come in. If you know what I mean. I know there's people that are allergic.
You suggest a professional to eradicate the bed bugs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the bed bugs are a very smart creature. They know how to survive. They're like a roach in a sense, and you can go around spraying and you'll kill some of them, like I said, but then they'll just hide somewhere else. They'll start hiding up behind your picture frames on your wall. They'll hide up high. They'll hide up in your curtains way up high.
And then when you're sleeping, they come down and bite you?
Well, especially if you're talking if you self-treat, you're going to drive them to the corners.
You're going to drive them.
You're not necessarily going to eradicate them.
I mean, if you have to use something, like if you come back from vacation from a hotel, and you're a little nervous that, geez, I might have something, I mean, absolutely give us a call. We'd be happy to come out and
you can check
your luggage
the
and
luggage.
check everything.
And your shoes.
Or just take precautions as you come home. Just launder everything that you have and keep your luggage outside. And if you have a steam cleaner, steam clean your luggage. Hospitals tend to do that with the bed bugs, steam clean.
Will a dryer, like if I dry my clothes, does that kill bed bugs?
That'll kill, yep. So that's the way to go. But we're always available to do a search if someone's nervous, if someone sees the 3 bites or they see something going on, absolutely give us a call. Yeah.
And what's your service area? How far will you travel?
We go to upper state New York, we go to New Hampshire, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Mass, obviously.
Most of New England.
Most of New England. Just haven't been to Maine. That's the only one. We've been to Vermont.
Haven't been to Maine?
No, Maine,
But we would.
We would, yeah, we would. Yeah.
It'd be a nice day trip.
Yeah, so it's been a process. I mean.
It has.
Yeah. Nerve-wracking, but like any other job, once you learn it, just like you learn your job, you're like, okay, this isn't as bad as.
Like, oh, this is old hat now.
That's what I mean. It's old hat. So, like we were talking before about when the bed bugs, and I had the vials, and you're like, oh my goodness, what if they got out? And you just learn the job.
Are they alive in your vial?
Yes. Yep.
Ew.
Yep.
Do you feed them?
Nope, they do not. They do not come out of there. They are sealed in there. They become sealed in there, and that's it. And they die in there. And I just collect more in the field. That's all I do.
Oh.
Yeah. But once they're in there, they're in there. There are some handlers, there are some dog handlers out there that feed them. They do feed them. They'll put the vial up against their skin and let them go through and feed them. But I draw the line there. I can't do that. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
Nina's not going to.
No,
I'm all for trying to do stuff with the dog and do stuff, but I draw the line on that one. That's
that's
too
not
much.
going to happen.
All right, that's the perfect point to end the show. Thank you, Tom and Nina. Is there anything that you want to add in the last minute we got?
We do have a website as well. It's just PawsitiveIdentityK9Services.com.
PawsitiveIdentityK9Services.com. And you can find all your contact information and details there. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
All right. And thank you for watching Discussing Fitchburg Now. Hope you learned a little bit more about the amazing services that dogs can provide. We will see you next week. Okay? Bye. All right. Awesome.
We're good.